Hi, this is EIT Tech Tips, and I'm Shay Haskins, and I'm joined by Connor Scott, and we are going to be comparing and talking about the 3000 and 4000 series graphics cards. If you don't know what a graphics card is, my friend Connor will tell you.
A graphics card, also known as a video card, is a piece of computer hardware that's slotted into the motherboard. A graphics card basically just renders the images to the monitor by converting the data into signals that monitor can understand.
In simple terms, it helps display graphics. The 4090 and the 4080 are the only 40 series cards that have complete information, so we will be comparing them to the 3090 and the 3080. But before we do any comparison, Connor is going to tell you about the 3000 series.
The 3000 series came out on September 1st, 2020, starting off releasing by the 3090 at $1,500, the 3080 at $700, and the 3070 at $500. All the graphics cards sold out on the first day, and everyone was looking to try and get one. The main problem with this release was that bots were buying up all the graphics cards and either reselling them at an insane price or using them for crypto mining. This made it very difficult for normal buyers like me and you to get a card for the retail price. Most people ended up having to pay almost double to get graphics cards. They also weren't able to produce a lot of the graphics cards due to the pandemic, which caused a shortage of materials. This caused a chip shortage, which is a main part of why graphics cards and a lot of other electronics went high in price.
Another major feature of the 3000 series was the second-gen ray tracing cores and the third-gen tensor cores. This allowed improved ray tracing and DLS performance. Ray tracing is basically a graphics rendering method that gives you gamers more realistic experience. DLS, or deep learning super sampling, was also major because it helps boost frame rates while rendering frames at a lower resolution. Some people think it makes the game look worse, but an AI upscales the frames so it looks as sharp as expected at the native resolution.
We've gone over some of the basic information about the 3000 series. Now we're going to cover some of the information on the 4000 series. At the moment, we only have two 4000 series graphics cards that have been released or are going to release soon. These are the 4090 and the 4080. The 4090 released on October 12th of this year, and the 4080 is going to be released later in November of this year. When the 4090 released, it sold out almost immediately, but they are still in stock on most websites because of the fact they're able to produce them and because they are so expensive at a price of $15.99.
When the 4080 releases, there will be two versions, the 16GB version with the price of $1,1200 and the 12GB version with the price of $900. The 4080 12GB will sell better because of its good price, and you don't really need over 12GB. 16GB isn't really needed. Now, let's get into some of the new features or upgrade features that come with the 4000 series. The 40 series introduced DLS 3.0, which is double the performance of DLS 2.0. This includes a massive boost in performance while maintaining great image quality and responsiveness. The 4000 series is also introducing two new GPU architectures to its lineup of the RTX 4000 series. It also makes use of the TSMC N5 process technology. This cuts out Samsung's role in the manufacturing process. TSMC N5 also had better performance than what was being used for a 3000 series with Samsung's 8LPP fabrication process. Now, let's get to the comparison.
We can only compare the 80 and the 90 of each series because we don't have enough information about the other graphics cards like the 50s, the 60s, the 40s. But let's just start off by comparing the 3090 to the 4090. As you can see in the chart, there are some major differences. The first main difference is the memory bandwidth. The 3090 is 936 gigabytes per second, while the 4090 is 1008 gigabytes per second, which is the same as the 3090 Ti. One of the biggest differences would have to be the clock speed. The 3090 has a base clock of 1395 megahertz and a boost clock of 1695 megahertz, while the 4090 has a much greater base clock of 2230 megahertz and a boost clock of 2520 megahertz. This is a major upgrade in clock speed of over 1.5 times. It is more expensive, which is a downside, but it's worth the extra money for the performance you're getting.
Now that Connor talked about the difference between the 3090 and the 4090, I'm going to talk about the difference between the 3080 and the 4080. The first difference is the memory. Now, there are two different types of memories that you can choose from for the 4080. There's a 12GB and 16GB at prices of $900 and a price of $1,200. For a more equal comparison, we are going to do the 12GB version. We just got some news that the 4080 12GB was unreleased. The main reason it was unreleased because it's confusing to have two 4080s, so they're mostly going to rebrand it as a 4070. Let's compare. The 3080 has 10 gigabytes of memory and the 4080 has 16 gigabytes, which is a humongous upgrade. The 3080 has memory bandwidth of 760, while the 4080 has a memory bandwidth of 736. This is a downgrade, but not by much, and they have bigger performance in other areas that will compensate for this. The 3080 has a base clock of 1440 MHz with a boost clock of 1710 MHz. The 4080 has a base clock of 2205 MHz with a boost clock of 2505. The 4080 has a very similar base and a boost clock compared to the 4090. Both the 3080 and the 4080 have the same suggested PSU of 700 watts. Overall, these two are pretty similar in some aspects, but can be very different in others.
Now that we're done comparing and giving basic information on all the graphics cards, we're going to give you guys a step-by-step tutorial on how to install the graphics cards if you do end up getting one. If you don't like the video versions of it, there will be a link in the description to a manual, so you can see all the step-by-steps, like exactly worded and everything, with pictures and all.
Now, after watching that beautiful video, Connor, which one would you choose?
Honestly, the 4090 is actually really good. I just think the price tag is just like big. Like it's just like, it seems way too big for what it's actually giving. I mean, I understand that it's a big upgrade. 3090, but like I don't know, it definitely like piques my interest, but I think the price tag is honestly what's holding me back.
I would probably have to agree with that, but the 3090's price for all the 30 series have gone down. Probably around 25% of the price has gone down because now they're actually able to afford stuff. So I feel like the 3090s are now affordable. You're able to buy them and you can get them easily without having scalpers to worry about because of the ban on the crypto on the new ones.
Well, is the price for the 4090 going to go up, or is it? Do you think it will stay like at MSRP?
I think that the price of it will probably go down eventually, but it's going to stay where it is for a little. But once they start making more, it's probably going to go down because they're going to have so many, and then people will start buying them.
Alright, yeah. So if I'm going to get one, I'm probably just going to wait for it to go down. That's probably what you guys should do too.
Yeah, I think they should just wait and see what people think about it first before buying one, because the first release will probably have a lot of issues too.
That makes sense.
Thank you guys for listening. This is CIT Tech Tips signing off. Bye-bye.
Bye.